This video will walk through graphing a linear function, and I think all of these are linear. Call this linear functions. Graphing a linear function using a chart of values. So in the example, I have a little table with my x column and my y column. You can think of the x column, this would be my domain. And when I substitute these x values into the given equation, what's going to come out is going to be called my range, just to tie all of the vocabulary in. And when I input the x values, I'm going to think of y as equaling 2x minus 3. So the way that I will get the y value that coordinates with each input x is to run that x value through the little equation 2x minus 3. So looking at the table, and let me erase now that you understand what I'm going to do, I'm first going to let x take on the value of negative 1. So it means I'm going to have 2, x takes on the value of negative 1, I subtract 3. So I have negative 2 minus 3, that's negative 5. So my first y value or range member for this particular line is negative 5. Let me do one more slowly and you'll see the idea. Next I'm going to let x take on the value of 0. And that means I'm going to have 0 minus 3, which is just negative 3. So the range member, or the y value associated with x equaling 0, would be negative 3. And I'll do the others quickly because I think you get the idea. If x is 2, then I have 4 minus 3, which is 1. And if x is 4, I have 8 minus 3, which is 5. So I now have a set of data, a set of ordered pairs to graph. So let's plot each point and see what happens. And I connect these up to make a straight line. And this is my linear function. My linear function represented by y equaling 2x minus 3. So I have my inputs, they're my x values, just to tie all of the vocabulary in. And then what comes out, my outputs, are my range values. When I substitute the given x values into the equation, what comes out are the y values. So the x's are my domain, the y's are my range, and then when I plot the points and connect them up, I have a continuous graph, and this is just a linear function. I feel like that's sufficient because this is not really a new topic, plotting points and connecting them up. It's just the vocabulary and the formality behind it. That's most likely the new piece. Let me look down here, and I really feel like these are all fairly simple. Yeah, I think that these are all pretty simple. And the boxes where nothing appeared, I guess there was an incompatibility with the typeset when I printed these out. We can fill these in class. We'll fill some of these in class to make that make sense. And before I end the video, I just want to see if there's anything else. Yeah, let's go on and look at the next page. So here you're given the linear function, you're given the little linear equation, and you're just given your domain or your x values using the vocabulary. So these are just suggested x values for you to use for evaluation. So if I were to set up my t-chart again, I have 4, I have 6, and I have 8. These are my inputs, and then what's going to come out will be my y values. The way that I would calculate the y values is by running each x value through the little equation x minus 5. So let's do this to see what happens. If x is 4, then y is negative 1. If x is 6, y is positive 1. If x is 8, y is positive 3. So what comes out, these are my range values. So I was given a set of numbers to represent my domain, and then what comes out would be my range. And the way that you would present your answer, just like they did, my range, equal sign, open up the brace, and then I would list the y values that represent my range. And to tie everything together, the amount of support work you would need to show, you would need to write the table of values in this way. You would need to show, if the equation were more complicated, you would need to show some support work to show how you calculated the coordinating output y values. And then you would need to list your range as a set because that's the purpose of this problem. The domain is listed as a set of x values, and your range represents the set of y values that would coordinate to make this function work. And then if you had to match these up and graph the ordered pairs, you would be able to do that, and they would all graph to make lines, a linear equation.